Welcome to the Dutch Laravel Foundation podcast. This one is for you. Broadcasting live from 2026 Laracon EU.
Ta-da! Welcome to our podcast.
That was a surprising intro.
Yeah. I didn't tell you at front because I like surprises.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we got a new outro as well, but I'm not gonna do it now.
Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah.
So people hang on the. No, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, let's start. What is your name? Who are you?
My name is Andreas, and I'm just some dude that showed up at Laracon.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah.
There's more to tell, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we'll see how much you can get out of me.
So, can you tell a little bit about why you're here, what you're gonna search for, what?
So I was sent here by my employer. We're here to basically talk to a number of engineers and find out how they're using MongoDB. It just so happens that I work at MongoDB. I lead the PHP team. So we maintain the driver for MongoDB in PHP that you would use to connect to MongoDB and send queries. And then we also maintain the framework integrations for Doctrine and Laravel. And it's for that second one that we're here, so that we're here to answer questions that people may have about MongoDB or the integration, but also as an important feedback point for us, so that we can ask, oh, you use it, what do you like about it, what are you missing? That feedback loop is very important to us.
Okay, cool. And can you tell also a little bit about yourself? What your background is and stuff like that?
Yeah, so my background is in software engineering, as in my dad was a software engineer.
All right.
And so I was from a young age that I was confronted with this topic.
Yeah.
I have vivid memories of my dad telling me about SQL queries that he would write at work, and he was really proud of those really long and complex SQL queries, and I think that's the reason I hate SQL with a passion these days and try to do something other than SQL. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Developers deserve better than SQL. I have stickers somewhere, I think. I can give you one. Developers deserve better than SQL.
Well, for me, it was a kind of magic thing that I was 13 with my dad and connected the first database to the front page website that I was building.
Yes.
I
loved
really
it.
magic.
I loved it. It was really nice, and that kind of translated to me then getting into programming. We always had a computer at home, but it was a work device, not a toy, right? You can't play games on a computer. It's a work device.
All right.
And so I was forced to write my own game, because that was the only game that I would be allowed to play. Like, what are you doing here? Are you playing a game? Yeah, I'm testing it. I'm building this. Oh, that's fine. Okay, continue. And so that's
cool.
how I started in Turbo Pascal back then. And then discovered graphics mode with 640 by 480 pixels, and I learned how to actually do graphic stuff and how to save drawings in memory so that I could draw pages faster. It was really fascinating intro. So that is the original software engineering background that I have.
All right. And do you program or build queries nowadays as well?
Not as much as I'd like to. I'm getting back more into it. But becoming a lead of the team, there is more and more work time that is spent doing things other than programming.
Yeah.
So I managed to build a couple of prototypes over the last year or so. And now I'm getting back more into active engineering.
All right.
Yeah.
And you told me earlier that you were sent from your boss to here.
Yeah.
But does it actually went that way? You were sent to here, or do you ask? Well,
no, we
asked
for that.
Exactly.
So we try to go to the big framework conferences, which would be Laracon, US and EU.
You've been also to the US?
I didn't go. I don't travel to the US for specific reasons. But Jeremy, my colleague, was there, and Rishab as well. So we will have a presence at Laracon US until recently we also had sponsorship booths to just have a spot where people can find us and talk to us.
Last year also here?
Yes, correct. We were here, we had a booth.
Oh, I saw you at the after video, I guess, because you're kind of
people can't really see it, but I'm kind of recognizable, aren't I?
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Cool,
I don't know why.
Oh, that's cool, man. All right, you can see it on Spotify. We're uploading video at Spotify, so you can see it.
People can actually see me. Better try and look
I
good.
really like your color hair with my shirt as well. And stuff
it is. And I've had the red hair for 3 years now, and I think if I got away with it, I would. If I did away with it, I think I would get so many questions about why I don't have red hair anymore that I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Okay.
I like it.
Cool. I like colorful people. So, let's talk about a little bit about MongoDB.
Yes.
So, because it's not like the typical pick I should pick, the typical choice I should pick with my new side project, for example. So, can you give me some? How you say it?
How do you choose your database for your side projects?
How do I choose it? Well, for my current side project, I had to choose Postgres because I wanted to host it on Laravel Cloud.
Yeah.
So I had to choose Postgres because it wasn't ready yet there.
Yeah.
But I also basically I had first install MySQL and then I had to transfer everything to Postgres. So that was kind of like a shitty shitty path.
And it's interesting because I started doing PHP in 2003 when the whole LAMP stack was still like the thing, and the M always stood for MySQL.
Yeah.
And you started using MySQL and you learned SQL and how it works, and it was a good and easy introduction.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe you discovered there's Postgres that can do things that MySQL can't, or you have fewer performance issues with that maybe. And then you choose one and you stick to it. But usually it's always going to be some flavor of SQL database that stores data in tables and columns, right? So very often the decision is basically about, which database do you think is better? Like, I don't use MySQL anymore because they were bought by Oracle, so I use MariaDB now. Or I use Oracle because my company pays for Oracle licenses, and so I just have a developer license that I can use for everything. All right, fine. Right? But very often we don't choose databases for what they give us, but rather based on, it uses SQL, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
MongoDB is very different. First of all, it's not SQL. It does have SQL interfaces, but that's not the way we expect it to work with it, because SQL wasn't actually made for that purpose. And if you've ever used JSON columns in Postgres with SQL, you know how much of a pain in the ass it is to work with them. But in general, MongoDB, we call it a general purpose database. You can do anything you can do in a relational database, you do it in MongoDB as well, and a lot more. The main difference is how you store your data. And this is where newcomers to MongoDB struggle most.
Yeah.
Based on the
I've been there as well.
Yeah. I've used MongoDB for a number of years before I started working there.
Yeah.
And that was the one recurring theme that I had to teach people was stop thinking in tables.
Yeah.
Stop thinking like
that's hard.
Right? Like so let's do an experiment.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to store fuel prices, right? So I'm gonna have petrol stations. And those petrol stations sell different types of fuel, right? And every once in a while I get a price report and I need to know that at a certain point in time, a certain petrol station had a certain price for a certain fuel type, right?
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong. You already, in your mental picture in your head, you already see a station table, you see a fuel table, and you see a price report table, right? That combines the two.
Yeah, and so price report. Sometimes, there are the dates and times where the prices are.
Your brain automatically went to think.
Yeah, exactly that.
Tables.
Yeah.
But why?
Because I was programmed to do like that.
Exactly.
Probably.
Exactly. Because we've learned it, right? Even when I think of data, I normalize it in my head, right? You know that you're not going to write diesel and E5 into the price report as like the fuel, but rather you're going to have an ID.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if there's going to be extra fuels later, right? All of that process of database normalization, since we use relational databases so long, we do it out of the box. And you have to unlearn that when you use MongoDB.
Right.
Because you wouldn't store the data that way in MongoDB. You might, because you want to store the canonical data to then produce read models or whatever. But for reading, you would store it in a very different format that is much more read optimized. Because storage is cheap.
Yeah.
So it's okay to store data multiple times and like store the fuel prices both in its canonical form and then keep a list of the like last 20 prices that this petrol station had directly in the station document.
Yeah.
Right? That's cheap nowadays. What's expensive is the CPU time that I need when I join stations and fuel prices. That's the expensive part these days. And so that is a big thing why people would then sometimes struggle with MongoDB.
Yeah, and I can imagine, but then again, I can also really understand what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds logic
Yeah.
thing. It opens up for me a whole kind of new way of thinking about that.
So I have this sample project that I built, and I kind of use as a demo because fuel prices in Germany, I don't know if you've ever driven in Germany, they change frequently.
Yeah, also here, yeah.
Yeah, like in Germany on average 24 times per day.
Okay.
That's how often the fuel price changes. So I imported a data set that contains prices for 2 years. That is about 600 million prices.
All right.
For just 2 years, for 16,000 petrol stations in total. And if you tell me you would like to have the price of petrol at a given station on a given day, I can give you all of the prices of that day, those 24 out of 600 million records, in 6 microseconds.
All right.
That is how efficient you can make queries if you design your database correctly and you use the right technology. If I had to join a table with 600 million records, no way.
No, exactly.
So, and that's the key that makes MongoDB so fast in many big data applications, is that you don't store relational models, but you store the data in a much more efficient way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in much more... And efficient is another way of thinking here, right?
Yeah.
Because you thought you were doing efficient.
Yes, correct. You are doing it efficiently now. Like, you're optimizing for space. You're optimizing for, if this changes, right? Another
but
example.
Not for speed,
Another example that I like to make is a contact book. You have a contact that has multiple email addresses, right? You always extract the email address to a different table because you can't store multiple email addresses in one document. But technically, you shouldn't have to.
No.
Right? They should just be a list inside. Did you know you can do that with Postgres too?
No, I did not know that.
See, this is the thing, and this brings us back because this is one of my main gripes about tools like the Doctrine ORM from Symfony and also Eloquent, is that they abstract the database. And you lose features. Postgres can store array fields. You can store an array of strings in a column in Postgres.
I only know that there was JSON fields in Postgres for doing this kind of stuff.
Oh, you can also have more complex types. You could define an address type with a street, a house number, a postcode, and a city, and store that in a column as an object. You don't even need to use JSON. But since a lot of other SQL databases don't support them, for tools like the Doctrine ORM and Eloquent, it makes no sense to add that in because only Postgres could leverage this logic, and they would have to polyfill for everything else. So that's just not feasible.
All right. So if remembering our members here, so if I want to start a new side project, what is then the steps I have to do to use MongoDB?
If you want to use MongoDB, first thing, obviously you need a MongoDB server, which you can do either locally. For development purposes, you can always use a local server. There is also a hosted version of MongoDB that you can use for production, and it has a special shared tier where you can store up to 512 megabytes of data, and that is free forever. Like, you don't even need to enter a credit card when you sign up. Obviously, it's to get you to see, oh, cool, Atlas is so easy to set up, and you're going to use Atlas for production as well. But technically, you don't need to install it locally. Make an Atlas account, create a free cluster, and use that for testing purposes. So that takes care of the database itself. And then in PHP, you need to install a PHP extension that contains the driver code, and that maintains the connection and everything. And then we have a high-level library on top that you would use to insert documents and read data.
Is that within Laravel? Is that?
So that is all still outside of Laravel.
All right.
That is what this library offers, is the driver's CRUD API, and we call it the common CRUD API. We currently have database drivers for 10 different programming languages, and the API is the same in all of them.
All right.
So you will always create a client that is your connection to MongoDB.
Yeah.
From there, you can get a database object, and from there you get a collection object. And that has methods like insert one, insert many, find many, update one, update many, and delete one, delete many. And those are the methods that you actually use. So you don't use a query language, you actually use an API to work with the database.
All right, so it's another way around as well there.
Yes, and it's a lot more designed to be used in programs. So for example, generating a dynamic filter where you don't know what columns you're going to, or what fields you're going to be filtering on, is a lot easier because you don't have to do string concatenation like in SQL, but rather it's just an object with properties and values that is your query.
All right.
So it's a lot easier in programs, but writing it, obviously, like writing a query in the shell is like programming. You're building a JSON object. So there's trade-offs there.
Yeah.
And on top of that driver, we maintain framework integrations that are designed to make people feel comfortable, right? So if I said, well, yeah, we're going to have the doctrine ODM in Laravel, people will not be comfortable because they're used to Eloquent.
Yeah.
And so we maintain a special connection class that connects to MongoDB and lets you use Eloquent with MongoDB. It also supports all of the various built-in mechanisms of Eloquent. And then the challenge we have is to tack stuff on top that does not exist in a relational database, like embedded documents, like the aggregation framework where you can write extremely complex queries that do a lot more than just filtering and grouping. But the main point is to just have the basic functionality that every Laravel developer knows from Eloquent, to have it there and allow them to easily switch over to a different database and start using it.
All right, cool, thanks. And how is Elastic comparing to MongoDB? What's the difference between that kind of...
So I'll try to answer the question, because since I don't typically build applications, last time I used Elastic was quite a while ago. And
yeah, but for me it was 10 years ago as well. Yeah.
Right? So I still know it as basically a search service where I index things and then I get records back. But what I've seen from talking to people at various conferences, what people are starting to use Elastic for, is that they have their canonical data in MySQL or Postgres, and they have it neatly normalized, and then they create read models and basically have a JSON object, like they would return it from their API, and they store that in Elastic, right? Because it's much faster.
Yeah.
So sure, I think you can use Elastic like a database, and I honestly don't know enough about Elastic to make an informed choice and say whether that's good or not.
Yeah.
But you don't need to use two different services for that. You could just store your data like that in the first place. Like, why are you storing it normalized if the more efficient way to handle this data is in that JSON form that you are storing in Elastic? Why wouldn't you do it like this in the first place?
Yeah, all right. Okay, so 15 years ago I was working at a hosting company, and we had to have all the firewall stats within one database, so it was really easy, like the database structure is really easy. It's a time frame, and then there's coming in and out IP addresses and what the kind of bandwidth is using, stuff like that. And then we need to something that was really easy but also really fast to plot out different graphs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we then were checking if MongoDB was a solution or Elastic was. Then I choose. I think I was the one that had chosen that one, but I chose an Elastic because. But then again, I had 3 weeks of grinding out how this actually works, because it's pretty hard to wrap your head around. Yep. Oh.
And when you have 3 weeks to decide between two technologies that you don't know, you're screwed.
Actually,
and when you
a bit, yes.
And when you have 3 weeks to decide between a technology that you know a little bit and one that you know nothing about, you may as well stop and just use the one you know a little bit and try to make it work. Right? Because you're not going to learn the ins and outs of that. Just think of you starting to work with a SQL database. It took you way more than 3 weeks to figure out how to do things properly. Like your first things in databases are usually crap and slow and would completely collapse when you put 1,000 rows in them. Right? So that's increasingly difficult, and there is no problem with starting with one tool because it just works, and then a few weeks, months, or years later, figuring out, well, this has reached its limits, we need to find an alternative. Right? You could have spent 6 months evaluating more, choosing MongoDB, but then you lost 6 months of revenue and you were bust. Did you win anything? No. Nope. So The important thing is that you actually looked for technology and decided which can I use instead of just jumping to the one thing that you know, that is MySQL, right? So that is already the most important step.
Yeah. Okay. So, and if users now what's the first step that they could take to use MongoDB? But are there some? You say, yeah, we have a community on YouTube, or is there?
Yes. So there is the MongoDB University, which is a learning center.
Yeah.
It's completely free, so the courses are completely free. You can do a certification. You can even become a MongoDB PHP certified developer for a certain price. I'll let people decide whether they want certifications or not. But we have courses both on like getting started with MongoDB, what the document model is.
Yeah.
We have courses on how to properly design schemas and to show you different schema patterns that allow you to store data efficiently.
Yeah.
There's a getting started course for Laravel on there. There's an entire learning center that will help you build your first Laravel application. And there's courses on how to self-host MongoDB and how to manage a sharded cluster. So that you don't have to pay a cloud company to host MongoDB for you, but host it yourself, because it is source available. I'm not going to get into the SSPL. It's source available, and the community edition you can host on your server for free and not have to pay anybody anything.
That's a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always good. Yeah. And so, that developer center is very good, or the learning center. We also occasionally do blog posts on various things. At the moment, I am publishing a blog post series on how to scale to 1 billion documents in Symfony, simply because that's my background, but I'm currently looking for people that are experienced with Laravel and want to give this challenge a shot in Laravel to produce the same application with Laravel so that it can be used as a learning tool for Laravel
shout out for everybody who's listening, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about you guys.
Yeah, please help me learn Laravel. I suck at it.
Right, cool. Hey, and talking about the event, what is the thing that you want to see? What's your highlight?
So for me, I've been going to conferences for so long that I only go to the hallway track. So essentially what we're doing here is what I do all day. I roam the halls. Occasionally there is the talk that I go to because I think the topic is interesting or because I know the speaker and I'm there for moral support.
Yeah.
But mostly it's me going around to the sponsor booths, talking with people there, answering questions about anything, and just basically talking to anybody who's willing to listen.
Now, and that one, where are we? So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Nice. Okay. Shout out to everybody who's going to use MongoDB. And where can they find you if they want to find you on?
So my GitHub handle is Alkaios, like an old Greek poet.
All right.
That's the one I use. Other than that, I am very active in the Symfony Slack. I don't know if Laravel has a Slack or if they
we have a Dutch Laravel Foundation Slack channel. Yeah. But what we're going to do in the show notes, do you have LinkedIn or something like that?
I have a
LinkedIn.
Well? We can put my LinkedIn in there and my Twitter account that I don't use anymore because I still call it Twitter.
All right. I understand. Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go.
Thanks for listening to the Dutch Laravel Foundation podcast. This one is for you, broadcasting live from 2026 live.